Okay, now I have quite a soft voice most of the time, so kind of guys at the back, if you could wave just to let me know that you can actually hear me. Fantastic, right. Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction about what I'm going to speak about. I'm just going to break it down. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about the role itself. Secondly, I'm going to shamelessly try to sell myself to you so you'll vote for me in the election. Please do, that would be awesome. And then thirdly, I'm going to speak about some of the specific issues that are facing the union and all students next year. Okay, so first and foremost, I'll keep it very simple. The role of a president I see as mainly being about representation. The way that works is kind of you say something, I listen, and then we act on it. Kind of like the soft voice kind of thing just at the start there. That's how I intend to proceed. I think representation is more than kind of just sticking around in an office. You've actually got yourself, get yourself out there. I think there are areas where we are currently disengaged with students. I think Queen's campus, more time needs to be spent there, and not just in the DSU office. It needs to be spent possibly not even in the waterside because it's underused at times, but just kind of getting out there, speaking to students. Exactly the same thing in Durham. The individual colleges play a big part of the role, and in many ways that's the best and worst thing about Durham. The best thing because colleges are generally great. The worst thing because they don't really want to talk to a central body in some concrete building in the middle of town. So we better go out to actually speak to those guys. I think there's a number of areas where we can get more representation. Forums, like the events forum, just more on general things. Working groups, kind of more relaxed ways of doing things. And finally, like polls, like the website at the moment is atrocious. I have to be honest, it's very difficult to navigate, and I think that can be improved, and that can generally be used as a tool for getting student feedback. Right, now, a little bit about myself. I'm currently the incumbent president of VAMOD at JCR. That means I sit on a whole range of university committees. In many ways, I'm already representing vast swathes of the student body at all kind of levels at the university. I sit on a student experience subcommittee that talks about everything that has to happen with student experience. The accommodation advisory group that advises on fees. Governance. Governance is going to be a massive thing. And I think the main issue we have that is a lack of continuity. If I was elected, I'd be able to offer the JCRs kind of all the experience I've gained this year. And we might be able to have some progress on that issue. I'm also an NUS Council delegate for next time, regardless of what you think about NUS at the moment. That's still another level of representation I'm involved with. And finally, but not kind of the smallest thing, is Prescom, where we regularly discuss uni-wide issues on a regular basis, ranging from bar prices to kind of pretty much everything. I'm a fairly effective leader. As president, you have to be, and I think I could bring that. But I think it's important to kind of step away from the kind of self-perception, the kind of identity of president itself. It's vitally important that student voices are heard at all these committee groups. And the student voices you hear at these groups will not be mine, but all of yours, kind of represented through me. That's the way I'm going about it. It's not an egotistical thing at all. Right, finally, representation. Again, like Queen's campus, there needs to be so much more presence there, but there needs to be much more presence in Durham as well. I think we need a much more integrated approach. I talked a lot about Queen's yesterday, and I will continue to talk a lot about Queen's because it's very, very important to kind of the overall future of Durham. But I think we really, really need to push ourselves. I think a vital part of that would be strong JCRs and MCRs going into next year. Regardless of the route that JCRs and MCRs take next year, it's got to be like a deal that is best for students. Whether that's kind of merging with the university or going down the independent route. We've got to get a fine balance on that. And so it's vitally important that there is an element of dialogue, not just with one JCR, but with all JCRs. And I think the motion that went through council effectively gives the DSU sabbaticals a mandate on that. In terms of postgrads, Durham aspires, or kind of plans to have 60% postgrads, 40% undergrads eventually. It's really, really very important that we integrate those students within DSU. I think they're underrepresented at the moment. One way of doing this is University College MCR has a senior DSU rep, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's a very good way of doing it. And I'd also interact quite a lot with MCR Presscom as well to discuss issues that are relevant to those students as well.
1 minute.
1 minute, wow. Okay. It always goes so much quicker when you're at the front. I guess you must be quite bored actually by now. But anyway, we'll carry on regardless. I think junior DSU reps or DSU reps in certain colleges now, we can really, really effectively use them next year. At the moment, they're kind of, well, certainly within my college, they push out the vote. But I think they can be used kind of actively for campaigning, for working groups, for forums, just so we get more individual student voices kind of within council and kind of actually informing decisions. I think there is a lack of transparency in the DSU. The other candidates have certainly brought this up. And I think we need to be kind of much more clearer about what DSU is. So my ultimate aim for next year is actually really very simple. It would be to walk up to someone and say, I'm the president of the DSU. And for every single student who you said that to, would know exactly what that meant.
That's time.
Fantastic.